What's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you are doing well. In today's video, I want to talk about how to peak for a bodybuilding show so that you can look full, crispy, dry, and all those other nice adjectives to describe your physique. Today, I actually want to focus on what not to do in peak week and some commonly made mistakes that leave people's physiques looking worse, because peak week is overhyped, it's not magic, and I think there's a lot of confusion, especially for those who are maybe a little bit earlier in the journey, who don't know exactly what we are trying to get out of a peak. So I hope that this video can give you at least some basic guidance of most certainly what you should not be doing in a peak week and help things run that little bit more smooth. There is a lot more to touch on, so in future videos, I will go over what I did in terms of my peaking protocols and hopefully give you a little bit more of a how-to when it comes to that process. But for today's video, I want to start things off nice and basic so that we know what we're actually aiming for and helping that process be as smooth as possible. So if you get some value out of today's video, that would be awesome. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content. And let's get right into mistake number one. So mistake number one is the good old-fashioned fail to prepare is preparing to fail. Make sure you have some sort of plan for what you intend to do on peak week. It is a stressful process being that close to the show, a lot of second guessing your physique, and the least you can leave to guesswork, the better. Now there is a big amount of peak week that is individualized and will need adapting. You are inherently going to have some stress in that process anyway. So please minimize what you put yourself through and have some sort of structure or template to put in place for peak week. That is what I aim to give you in some future videos. Make sure you have at least some kind of plan for what you want to do. Mistake number two is actually the complete opposite of that, and that's not being analytical and adaptable enough. There is only so much that you can prepare for on peak week, and the worst thing you can do is just try to follow a plan that you found on the internet to the T and hope that that delivers what you need. You should be analyzing your physique at least every day in the later part of a peak, if not meal to meal, to see what the response is like and act accordingly. Ultimately, that is going to detail what the needs of your physique are at the time that you can then fix by putting things in place to smoothly deliver that taper hour by hour, day by day, so that you deliver the very best that you can on stage. Ideally, you're going to have a coach, or at the very least, a second eye who understands what you are looking for in terms of the criteria for your physique, who can also feed back when you are maybe second guessing yourself and not really sure, looking at your physique as objectively as you might normally under normal conditions. But if you are trying to do it yourself, at the very least, record your physique as often as possible, film yourself going through some check-ins and poses, and from there you will hopefully be able to look at yourself decently objectively and decide what needs to be done in terms of adapting that peak so that you can deliver your very best. And then the final mistake, which ties all of that nicely together, is simply not being ready for your peak. The whole process is going to be much smoother if you are ready for your show in the condition that you need to be in. Now, looking back, I brought a respectable level of conditioning. It was worthy of stage, but it wasn't quite skinless, something which I did aim to rectify in the later shows I'd be doing, and unfortunately didn't get that chance. But I do acknowledge that the whole process would have been that much better if I was even leaner and 100% ready for the stage. This is going to give you a more accurate insight into your body's response, and ideally you actually want to leave time for a mock peak or a practice run before doing the real thing, because once again, that's going to give you a good insight into the response. It's going to help you plan accordingly, which means that you leave the least amount to guesswork, which means that you're less likely to try and pull off some drastic measures to save your physique. Remember, peaking is not going to save your physique. So if you are not ready, peak week is not going to help with that. It is there to give you the marginal advantage. If you run a practice run and you have a good idea of how you respond, that also helps with having a more structured plan in place and understanding what you yourself need out of a peak week. That in of itself also means that you can play things a little bit more safe in terms of your protocols, means there's less of a chance to mess things up, less of a chance to mistime things, and ultimately deliver the best that you can on the stage. So those are the top 3 mistakes that I think people make when it comes to peaking. Things which I think on the whole I did a good job of avoiding, and I was very happy with how my peak went for me. It honestly worked to a T, and I will go into a little bit more detail on later videos about exactly what I did for my show and hopefully give you a little bit more guidance on the how-to of how you may favor peaking for a physique competition or bodybuilding show. Now, I am a physique and bodybuilding coach myself, so if you have any questions at all, feel more than free to drop a comment below or reach out to me via DMs on Instagram. I'm always happy to try and point you in the right direction and give some value where possible. If you are interested in how I can help you with your physique development journey, feel free to follow the link in the description and check out my coaching inquiries form. Other than that, I hope to see you guys in the next video where we will go into a little bit more detail about how to when it comes to peaking, and otherwise, keep well and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.